Hello everyone, it's Peter here, Piotr Fisner from Inte.Team-ElectronicsRepairShop, guys. So, that's a part 2, and I said if I will find a reason, valid reason to that part 2, it will be. So here it is. I've tried in steps, like I've disconnected everything from the motherboard and I removed the BIOS and I've programmed it, and then, well, actually I've downloaded the firmware and then I've used our software, which you can't buy online, yes, the one to fix BIOSes. Now that software has fixed it and I've used the output and the computer has powered on, yes, so that's what we know. Now the problem is that when I've inserted the battery, it was fine, that wasn't the problem, but when I've placed drives, all the drives, the computer died again and I had to go through the process again. So I've used SWOT4 to get the data, of course, to solder it from the motherboard, because there is a capacitance on the motherboard, so the voltage is dropping, so you can't always use a clamp, you know, to extract the data from the BIOS this way. Plus, if there is any defects, you know, you can damage something and so. So I prefer to just use soldering iron on both sides of SOP8, add more flux solder and remove it, heat it up from one side and the same from the second side with adding solder, and then with tweezers I can lift it up on one side gradually, just a bit, and then on the second, and then it's moving across, so I can grab it with tweezers, yes. So I don't need to even use hot air to be true to remove the BIOS from the board. And I prefer it this way because on the boards you've got a lot of plastics and other stuff, so you can damage it quickly, whereas with C210 it's, you know, it's really nice. So anyways, I removed the BIOS from the board. I've used the small board. I don't know if I will find, yeah, I will find it here, the small board which I've created, yes, and I've got pins here from Arduino and I've soldered it on this. I've inserted again and again. I've put the output folder from that software we're using on subscription, yes. Again, it powered on and I'm saying, ooh. Okay, so I've called the customer couldn't come because he didn't have a car. I said, I'll go for you, I'll show you what the problem is. It was a high priority job, yes, so I wanted to just finish it off as quick as possible. So customer came, I showed everything, all the process, and customer was happy with what I was trying to do and that I've got, you know, success with the outcome. So I said, look, the next step will be to gradually introduce these drives, because one of those drives causing the problem, yes. So he said that the newest drive was actually the one which we fitted, so that was the Samsung 890 or something, I don't remember, but anyway, Samsung NVMe. But I've inserted that one first anyway, and it was fine. And then I've inserted this drive, and that failed. Okay, that's Western Digital Blue. When I've inserted, the computer died. But this time allowed me, when I removed it, to post again and actually add a picture. So I said, okay, let's connect the rest and let's see if the computer will boot up. Let's put it into enclosure and everything. So we've introduced all other accessories, peripherals and so on, including Blu-ray or DVD, whatever he had over there. You know, like connected everything else. And the computer booted up, no problem. I said, okay, so I would take actually not the SSD on which Windows is installed, I would take the NVMe, which is 1 terabyte, the Samsung one, and I would install just Windows 11, which you already originally planned. And I've installed it, and since then there was no problem. I wrote only today to the customer that I've attached in Google Drive BIOS before fix, after fix, then the backup BIOS before the fix and after fix, and for him to download it so that, you know, he can literally take it and have it as a backup somewhere. That's all in this video. Thank you guys for watching. It's a fix. Bye bye.